I just finished a 5-day, 4-night backpacking trip in the Inyo National Forest over Mono Pass. And I came home and I have all my gear spread out behind me. In this video, I want to talk with you about what do I do with my gear when I get home? How do I stage it to get it clean? How do I clean it? And then what do I do to put it away? And so if you want to sit back and relax, let's just have a conversation together about what do you do with all your backpacking gear when you get home. This is pretty much all of my gear. You can't see some of it over there. I got shoes, shirt, power bank, bear vault over there. Here I got my tent, rain jacket, sleeping pad, pillow, fishing kit, backpack, trekking poles. And what you have to do is figure out, what do I do with all my gear? How do I clean it when I get home? One of the first things that you want to do when you get back from your backpacking trip is you actually just want to take all of your gear out of your backpack. I personally think one of the worst things that you can do is just leave everything stuffed in there. Now I know you're driving home, you're coming home, you're exhausted, you're thrashed, maybe you haven't slept great for a couple nights. And so the easy thing to do is just take your backpack, drop it in the entryway, drop it in your garage, drop it wherever you're gonna drop it. And then you go, I'm just gonna deal with that later. And if you look behind me, this actually looks like an absolute mess. It's kind of stuff thrown all over the place. You should have seen it 2 days ago. But what I did right away when I got home, I came home, hugged my family, took a quick shower. Let's be realistic, you're gonna stink. And then from there, I just laid out all my gear on the first night. And the first thing that I actually did was my bear can right over here. I think the first thing you're gonna wanna do is just empty out your bear can. Like, go through it, find any trash. Is there anything in there that needs to be taken out? Once you figure out what needs to be taken out of there, then you can just kind of get that out, maybe spread it out. One of the things that I like to do is put my gear in different piles. So I did one pile that this needs to come inside because I need to wash it. And things like that are gonna be my pot. I cooked oatmeal in it on the last morning, so I wanna get that washed. I wanna get my spoon washed. I need to bring that inside. I wanna get my cup washed because I brought it to make coffee. So kind of get that gear inside. One is a pile that gear needs to be wiped down, and another is a pile of gear that needs to be washed. So I've already done the laundry over there. You can actually see some gear sitting on top of the dryer, and you can actually also see some gear right here, over here, hanging up. So I got my jacket already drying, my pants are behind that, and my sleep pants are behind that also, because I want to get that gear washed and I want to get it drying so that I can just kind of move forward on that. Another thing that I've already done is, and I should have showed you this, but I've already washed the footprint for my tent. And that might sound kind of weird, but I like to bring it home and just take it out back, hose it off, rinse it off, dry it out. The way that I use my footprint is I have one side that always stays to the top, and I have another side that always goes to the dirt. And I just want to clean that up just so there's any debris off of that. Some people, they don't use a footprint, and the way that I look at it as a footprint is just like an insurance policy. This is a $30 insurance policy to protect my tent, which then protects my sleeping pad. Next, what I'm gonna do today is I already have my tent laying out. I'm gonna take my tent into the backyard with me, and I'm gonna lay it out, and I'm just gonna wipe down the bottom. I'm gonna try to get some of that extra dirt off, then I don't have to carry that weight. If there's any condensation that's left in my tent, I'm gonna leave it out in the sun for a couple hours. I'm gonna let that dry out. After that, I'm gonna start going through this whole table and figuring out what do I need to do next. So last night I already broke down my fishing rod. I'm gonna need to put that away. I'm gonna take my quilt, I'm gonna go hang that up, or I'm gonna go put it in a stuff sack. I'm not gonna compress it. For my quilt, I wanna let that kind of live full. And so I have like a big laundry bag, like a big laundry bag, and I'm gonna put that under my bed. As I go through the rest of this gear here, I'm gonna figure out where to put it. And what I mean by that is I have a couple tubs over on this wall that you can't see, and they're different labels for backpacking. So I have one tub that's labeled for camp kitchen. I have another tub that's labeled for backpacking. Some of my sleeping stuff goes inside. I kind of have gear that goes in different places. So my stuff that I sleep in, I put it in a bin under my bed. My jacket is gonna go hang up inside because I wear that backpacking, but I'm also gonna wear that once winter starts coming. My quilt, I haven't washed in a while. I like to use a sleeping bag liner, and that's actually in the dryer with the rest of my clothes. And so the clothes that have been cleaned in my dryer are gonna be my jacket, my pants, my shorts, my sun hoodie, my darn tough socks, my sleeping bag liner, my beanie, my neck gaiter, my knee braces. I wanna wash all of that, dry it, figure out, put it all on the recommended stuff that you need to do. Over here you can see behind me, right here, there's some smart water bottles. A couple of years ago, I stopped using a bladder. And the reason I stopped using a bladder was I hated opening up my backpack to fill up my water. And then if I spilt water on something, now my clothes could potentially be wet. The smart water bottles, I can just grab them off the side of my pack. Which leads me to the next item that I'll be cleaning today is my backpack. I like to take a damp cloth and just do a kind of a slow wipe down on my backpack. My thought process is if I can just kind of clean some of this dirt and this grime and anything off, then I can keep my gear in as pristine condition as possible so that the next time that I go backpacking, I just go and I'm gonna pull that right out of that box and I know that it's gonna be ready. I'm gonna do the same thing with my Nemo Tensor sleeping pad. I'm gonna roll that up. Here's something too that you might want to think about is, do you have the room to store your items loosely? When I think about storing my items, there's some things that I can, wrap up and put in there. I have my pillow back here. I have my little fishing kit. Those I'm just going to shove in their stuff sack. Now I do know people that have the room in their garage, a gear closet, maybe a shed in the backyard, and they can store their items more loosely. If you can do that, that's one great thing to do. I've also heard you don't want to roll up your sleeping pad because you'll keep putting these kind of same lines or these same rolls on that. I don't know all of the things on that. I don't know all of the details on that, but that's something you want to think through. And you just need to figure out too, what do I have? What kind of room do I have? For example, my bear vault is gonna get shoved way up in the corner up there because on the top shelf of my garage rack, I have room to put my bear vault up there. My poop kit, for another example, that's just gonna go straight into these big black tubs that I have with yellow lids, and that'll go right into my backpacking kit. I'm gonna take my trekking poles out to the backyard. I'm gonna hose them off. I think at this point, you're hopefully starting to understand the need and desire to clean your gear and to store it properly. And so when you get home from your next backpacking trip, I know you're gonna be thrashed. I know you're gonna be exhausted. You're probably gonna say, hey, the last thing that I wanna do is clean my backpacking gear. And I get it. I can feel that same thing. I'm actually glad that a couple of years ago, a year ago, our family got a ping pong table because it's made this room in the garage. And so my family's okay with me taking a day or two to lay out all of my gear, to put it on here, and then I'm just gonna systematically go through it. And basically the line that goes through my mind in this entire process is if you take care of your gear will take care of you. As you think about all of this, take care of your gear. You maybe spent $100, $200, $300, $400 on your backpack. Take care of it. You spent $200 on your sleeping pad. That's your mattress in the backcountry. Take care of it. You spent a couple $100 on your sleeping bag or your quilt. Take care of it. I know I'm being repetitive now, but I really want to encourage you, when you get home from backpacking, you're not done. You're not done until you've cleaned all of your gear, until you've taken care of it, and you've put it away. So hope this video is helpful. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all those other things. If you're interested in seeing this new stove that I got, it's a fire maple petrol pot with a Green Peak stove. I'll put a link over here. And then if you're interested in watching the video that I just did from this backpacking trip, I'll put a link over here so that you can see that too. I'm super glad that I did this today, because as I was out there wiping off the bottom of my tent, I noticed a really small, maybe quarter-inch just kind of rip. Maybe I put it on a rock, maybe I don't know what I did, but I was able to take some gear tape and put just a little patch on that, so that'll be covered. And then second, I noticed that my lighter had run out of Leuco tape. I needed some Leuco tape on this last trip, and so I was able to identify that, and then I was able to come grab the roll of Leuco tape, rewrap my lighter, so that the next time when I go out, I'm not gonna have to go, is there a hole in my tent? Do I have enough Leuco tape? You know, fill in the extra blank. And so these are some of those reasons why it's so important to make sure to comb through your gear, to clean your gear, and then to put it away correctly for your next backpacking adventure.